Both Patrick and I have a tie to my hometown in Wichita, Kansas. That's where you actually live?
Beautiful, small, big world out there. It is fantastic. Wichita is where this all started, yes.
That's where I started, too.
Yeah.
We've got Wichita in common, and we also have, all of us, a love for animals.
Yes,
and that's why you're coming to visit. I know, Sheryl, you've been with Hearts Alive Village since its inception, because that's when I first met you. Your job title, has it changed?
It has not changed.
Tell us.
I am the Director of Communications and Cuddling.
Yes!
I need to consider changing my card.
You're going to hand these out like crazy. Now, Patrick, you are part of something called Bark-Aid, and Sheryl had gotten with me here just a few days ago and was saying that you were coming through town, but you're part of a bigger effort. Can you tell us exactly what Bark-Aid is?
Absolutely. Love to tell you. I became a hairstylist 10 years ago, and I was already in my 30s. I felt like I was kind of behind, and I wanted to catch up, get my name out there. 7 years ago, I did a world record. I cut hair for 72 hours.
Whoa.
And as I was planning that 72-hour event, I was having trouble getting enough appointments. I was stuck at 70, and I knew I needed at least 200 people to get me through 3 days. The girl I was dating at the time was a big animal person, and she suggested that I reach out to the Kansas Humane Society and ask if they would like to be the benefactor, because she made the point that people aren't going to come just because I wanted to do something special, a world record. Make it about something bigger than me.
Great idea.
I did. I reached out to them, and they just jumped all over it, thought it was a unique type of fundraiser. They jumped on board, put out a press release, and it just blew up. I had all 3 TV stations there, a KFDI radio station, followed me throughout the whole process. I went from 70 hair appointments to over 300 with a waiting list. It just was crazy. People waited for hours to get their haircut, 3 o'clock in the morning. And what blew my mind wasn't the fact that I did all that. 227 haircuts, raised a couple $1,000s. What really blew my mind is how people waited for hours. Not for the world record, but because it was for such a cause, great cause. And so I wanted to outdo myself. So that following year, I did 50 haircuts in 50 states in 50 days. And I spent 9 months logistically planning that. I was obsessed. I wanted to try and outdo myself. And so I spent 9 months, logistically finding shelters and rescues all across the country in each of the states, and each place would receive the benefit of the haircuts. I had no intentions of ever doing it again, but I just wanted to pull this off and see if I could do it. Do hair across the country. I did 2,500 haircuts, raised about $50,000. All of it went to rescues and shelters across the country. I said, why not keep doing this? Because the key to fundraising is consistency. If I could keep doing it somehow. And the struggles that I was having is that it was such a unique concept. People had no idea what I was doing. Half the country thought I was a dog groomer because they didn't understand. They're like,
well,
hey, this
for
guy,
animals,
right.
and it's got to do with hair.
Right, exactly. So that was one of the frustrations. I mean, literally, when I say 9 months of preparation, broke up with my girlfriend, slept in my salon. I was basically borrowed my roommate's car and had $200 to my name and ran out of money, actually, when I was in the Massachusetts Turnpike section of the East Coast because it's so expensive up there. I had no idea. I was geographically challenged. I had no idea what I was doing.
Well, Kansas is a whole different animal.
Yeah, exactly. So I pulled it off and decided to do it again, and I did that 3 years in a row. Just shoestringed it and bootstrapped, whatever you want to call it, and somehow pulled it off. I did it 3 years in a row. So after that first year, let me back up in just a minute. I'm like, well, I'm onto something. So actually, Bark-Aid, the actual name, was my inspiration from Willie Nelson's Farm Aid.
Yes.
Yes. So I coined the name Bark-Aid, and actually my very first event for Bark-Aid was a fashion show. So I had that world record, then I did another fundraiser for the Humane Society and had Bark-Aid the fashion show. So I had Bark-Aid, I had the 50 states tour going on that following year, and I had a little thing that we did in the park there called Barkapalooza. We had some people and some entertainment, and then we had a 5K. So this wonderful PR group called RSA Marketing. Hello, RSA Marketing. I love you guys. They set me down, and they said, Patrick, people like you are creatively destructive. I'm like, is that a compliment?
How does that work?
And they're like, people like you, Patrick, are fantastic at creating amazing events, world records, traveling around the country. You have Bark-Aid, you have the fashion show, you have the 50 states tour. You need to focus. You need to put it all together and find someone to run this at some point, because you're great at creating things, but then you try to run it, then it all falls apart.
To have that all on your own shoulders, to do it yourself is really tough.
And so that was really hard, and there was a lot of things that just didn't make sense at the time, and this is 6 years ago, mind you. He was telling me it takes you 6 years to become an overnight success, and you need to just be patiently impatient and just continue doing what you're doing. And that was one of the hardest things for me to understand at that time. So I went on with it. We incorporated and made Bark-Aid a non-for-profit there in the state of Kansas, and everything fell underneath the name Bark-Aid. The 50 States Tour, our 5K that we were doing, and all all the other stuff. And my initial vision from that inspiration from Willie Nelson's Farm Aid is to have Bark-Aid concert. That was always a vision of mine 6 years ago. So I continued with the 50 States tour, 3 years in a row, 50 states in 50 days. Raised a ton of money, developed amazing relationships, but one of the challenges was that people didn't have a chance to get to know me. I was cutting hair for 12 hours, every 15 minutes a haircut, in the car, driving to the next city and state. So after 3 years of doing it, I took a break. Everything went on pause. I was financially kind of ruined. I mean, when I say ruined, it was just killing me because this is a self-funded tour.
You're tapped out.
I was tapped out mentally, financially, everything in life. I had to reevaluate. I had a salon at the time in College Hill, and it wasn't working right. I didn't have the right people. Just everything in my life I needed to reevaluate for Bark-Aid and what my mission was. Going back again, when I first started out with the idea of the 50 States tour, I called the director, Kim, at the Kansas Humane Society and asked her, I thought, this is going to be easy. All I got to do is just call the Humane Societies across the country. I said, could you show me the Humane Society membership book? She looked at me like I just said something in Chinese. She's like, there is no such thing.
What are you talking about?
It's just a name. And I was naive to this whole rescue business. It was just a name. I'm like, wow, it could be called Patrick's Humane Society for all intensive purposes. And
Sure.
I'm like, that was kind of disappointing because the general public thinks all of the Humane Societies belong to the Humane Society of the United States. And that was a challenge. So going forward into that third year after I took a break, I needed to make a decision on where Bark-Aid was going. What is Bark-Aid? What is the definition? And suddenly it dawned on me, Bark-Aid is that organization that didn't exist. We are a coalition. We represent 74 rescues and shelters across the country now. So we are that organization I thought existed, but now it does. I just fell into it. So when we decided to make Bark-Aid a coalition last year, we opened it up. We changed it from 50 states in 50 days to just the 50 states tour. We added more cities. Last year was 55 cities. This year 74. Next year is 85. Plus we are including Canada. We got 2 stops in Toronto. Now it's the North American tour. When we decided to make Bark-Aid that organization, I developed a board of people that have been with me from the very beginning. 2 people from Minneapolis, Minnesota, 2 people from the Michigan area that round off the board who have different expertises in the whole rescue business. We also started developing the partnership, the coalition, reaching out and telling everybody our mission statement to bring further awareness and funds for homeless animals and the people that take care of them, all the rescues and shelters. I'm proud to say that Bark-Aid now is that coalition. We represent at this moment 74, and we continue to grow. We have several 5Ks that are in the planning. We had a 5K and a 1-mile dog walk in Wichita. Now we have one developing in Philadelphia, Albany, New York, and also in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. That's fantastic. It's neat to get the name out there as well, bring people together and build these relationships. And the vision that I had about Bark-Aid's concert is now in fruition. April of 2018, right here in Las Vegas, we will have our first Bark-Aid annual conference and concert right here. So we're pretty excited about that.
You obviously have found your purpose in life.
You know, that is an amazing statement, and it's so true. I wish everybody could find their purpose and have this kind of drive, because I have energy that I don't even know where it comes from to keep driving, going to the next city, cutting hair, and continuing to do what we're doing. And for people all across the country to actually understand and feel the passion of what we're trying to accomplish. Because I honestly did not think that this was going to keep going. I thought, hey, I'm just doing haircuts. People do cut-a-thons all the time. But something about bringing people together for a cut, and they know it's going for such a cause. There's so many animal lovers out there, and there's not another job that you can even describe that has this kind of personal contact with someone. You can't go to the doctor for it. You can't go anywhere for it. Where I've got 15, 20, 30 minutes with someone, and it's sharing this kind of passion with them, and they get a haircut, they feel good about themselves, and the money went to help save an animal. So it's an amazing opportunity.
Well, and the beautiful thing about this is, even as you said, as a hairstylist, you're doing one of these fundraisers, and you have someone in the chair for 15 minutes. You already start out ahead of the curve because you have something very important to both of you in common.
Right.
So they get into that seat. They've come to see you at this event because of their love for animals, which is why you do all of this.
Absolutely.
How did you get hooked up, Sheryl, with Patrick and the Bark-Aid effort with the Hearts Alive Village here in town?
You know, I actually used to write for Examiner.com. I heard about him coming to town. This was probably like 5 years ago. I went and I got my hair cut. Did a great job. Thank you. And I loved the idea. So when I started my radio show last year, I reached out to him and asked him to be on the show, and he said he was looking for a partner in Las Vegas. And I said, I happen to be affiliated with an amazing rescue. We ended up hooking up, and it's been great. I'm really excited.
And the love for Hearts Alive Village is real. And I know Sheryl so well. I know that her radio show, Something to Chew On.
I love that show.
It's on hiatus now, but it'll be back.
I love the title. That's why I can't forget it.
Right.
So what are the plans as far as Bark-Aid? Because you're going to be here in town on November 5th.
Correct.
Doing something associated with Hearts Alive Village. Have you been there yet?
I have. several months ago that I came and I actually took a visit of the shelter and the rescue and the little store that they have going on. It's beautiful.
I
It's neat.
love Hearts of Life
You know,
Village.
one thing about animal lovers, they have such big hearts. Amazing people. And my circle of friends over the last several years has changed so much because either you get it or you don't get it. You know, if you're not an animal person, you don't really need to be in my life.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure, Patrick, too, even when you were tapped out and tired and traveling and at the end of your energy, the animals win. Because when you've got this kind of feeling, this kind of love for animals in your heart, somehow you push a little farther. I know I serve on the board of an animal charity here in town as well, the Poppy Foundation. And when I think I've done everything that I can, you see the need is still there.
Right.
It's never going to be fully satisfied.
Right.
And I also believe strongly, I know Sheryl knows this about me, unless we all work together, we're not going to solve these issues.
Right.
And here in southern Nevada, we had a terrible problem with animal overpopulation. The first thing that we had to do is have all different jurisdictions agree that we needed to start requiring people to spay or neuter their animals. Because the overpopulation, we needed to take care of that. And now we have groups that do that. C5, Heaven Can Wait.
Yep.
So we have people who do the trapping. They do trap, neuter, and release, clipping the ears so a rescuer can see them in a cage if they came in looking for food and say, oh, we took care of that one already. And it's starting to make a difference. It's like a big bell curve, and it takes a while for it to have an impact.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's kind of like when you buy a car and you're like, oh, so excited about it. And then all of a sudden you notice so many other people have your car. And that's what's happened over the last 6 years by doing this. It's like, wow, there is a lot of this animal stuff going on and it's so neat. And over the last 5 years, how much more awareness there is just in our culture. Speaking of that, Barkaid will be going to China and Bangkok as well.
What?
Yes, we have people that have contacted us because their culture is changing too. I know that they eat them. In the past, it was unheard of to have a pet in the house. Now they're having pets in their house and dogs in their house. There's a salon owner in Bangkok that has contacted me and we met on Instagram and she wants to do a Barkaid event out there. It's amazing that that culture is changing over there and just on a global level how people are thinking and changing their attitudes about pets. So we're really excited about moving in, like I was mentioning, next year we'll be in Toronto. So the expansion of Barkaid into those other areas. And to think that it all started just from wanting to do hair. But you made a great point about the energy and people ask me that all the time. I bet you're tired. I'm like, yeah, I am. And I get asked all the time, where does the energy come from? I know that tomorrow there's another city that is waiting for us to show up. So you get excited, you know, in each of these cities. We've got a big stretch ahead of us. We're going to be in Venice Beach, California. We're going to be in San Diego. And then we're going to be in Phoenix and Albuquerque, Dallas and Fort Worth and Austin and Houston. So we got a long stretch, but it's exciting that they're all getting ready for Barkaid to show up. It's an amazing, blessed feeling.
Now that Barkaid is more of an organization, I would hope that you've got some help. Who plans the logistics for you to go from point A to point B?
I still do. I'm still the main person who kind of runs everything, but I've got some very important people helping me with the important part of the backside of things, accounting and all of that other fun legal stuff. I didn't realize that there was so much work involved in trying to give money away.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and if you are, and as you said, you had established as a nonprofit, which means you're a 501c3, you've got some requirements with the IRS to be able to maintain your tax-exempt status.
Exactly. Just a lot of work involved, and that's what he said to me 6 years ago. People like you are creatively destructive, and now I understand. I don't know how to run a nonprofit. Find people that do. Henry Ford didn't know how to make a car. He hired people to make a car. So keeping that in mind, you know, Barkaid's got a fantastic future ahead of it. I just want to make sure I have the right people and make sure everything is there. Someone once told me, it was one of the board members, Susan Bates. Hello, Susan Bates. She said, Patrick, you've painted a beautiful house. Just make sure it's got a good foundation. So it's kind of one of those things where I had the dream, I had the vision, we've built the house. Now we're making sure it's solid.
And we give as much energy as we possibly can, but it's also all right to say there are other people who can do this specific duty to make the entire thing function right.
Yeah, you have to put your ego aside a little bit. I don't know how to run that. Knowing your strengths and your weaknesses is half the battle of life. I'm glad I finally figured that out.
Well, isn't it the case throughout your life where it's hard to ask for someone's help?
Right.
I want to do it all myself, but it's a better, stronger effort if we let other people come and assist us in this project that we all care very much for.
Right.
I want to speak for a moment to the coalition that you were talking about. We actually had someone that wanted to rescue a Chihuahua from California a couple months ago, and we didn't have anybody in California. We had nobody that could drop everything and drive out there. And I was thinking, who do we know? Who can we reach out to? And I finally called Patrick. Within 24 hours, he had connected us with a rescue in California, and there were plans to go get this dog before it was euthanized. So the fundraising is amazing. The awareness is amazing, but that connection across the country of knowing that you can reach out and have support in any state is absolutely amazing.
And beyond.
Yeah.
My friend Christy Santoro, who is also on the board with me at Poppy, she has a cat from Cairo, Egypt.
Oh, wow.
They flew the cat to New York. We had one of our people go and meet them there. They brought the cat back. It goes beyond the borders of the U.S.
And that's one of the things I wanted to make sure that we had in place. You know, we have a yearbook coming out very soon, an annual yearbook of all of our members, contacts, how you get a hold of them, each state, all that type of stuff. And on our website, barkaid.org, you can look underneath the partnerships, and it has everybody listed there, so you can go state by state and see who's there. That is awesome, and I just don't even know what to say. I'm kind of numb that I can actually offer that to people, and the dog is saved because of that coalition. And one of my favorite stories, I have so many stories, the dog transports that have been developed because of the Barkaid situation. There's a dog transport that comes from South Carolina up to Vermont once a month. Vermont and Burlington, Vermont, the shelters have a 0 dog population. It is so pet friendly up there. They can't keep dogs because they get adopted all the time. So there was a dog that was rescued, abandoned in a trailer park in South Carolina, Darlington area, transported up to Burlington, Vermont with the group that I represent up there. We were doing our event at the O'Brien Aveda Institute, cutting hair, and that dog was there. And this couple that was traveling down from Canada to visit some friends down in Vermont drove by, saw the Barkaid van, stopped in to see the event, didn't even get their haircut, and adopted that dog. And so that dog went from South Carolina and is now a Canadian. It's just an amazing thing to see that. It's such a big, small world out there, and you just never know.
We've got dogs from here in Las Vegas. Once again, an overpopulation situation. The dogs were in peril. They have been adopted and taken to Canada.
Yes.
A bunch of our Las Vegas dogs are now Canadian as well.
Fantastic. It's really interesting to see the different, lack of a better phrase, cultures throughout our own country, how people act in the Northeast and New England and get down south. Things change around Virginia, and then when you get south, people's attitude towards animals changes dramatically when you get into the south, and it's really a shame. The awareness is developing, but they're treated differently. They're just treated more like property, versus an actual family member. It blew my mind. One of my favorite dogs is the bulldog, English bulldog, and Winston was my last pet. I don't have a pet anymore because I travel too much. He's living on a farm with one of my clients right now, so he's having a good life. But it made me sad that there actually has to be breed-specific rescues out there, especially bulldogs. I'm going to Houston here soon, raising money for a St. Bernard rescue. Why are St. Bernards in Houston?
We've got a St. Bernard rescue here.
People buy animals because they're cute and cuddly, and then they realize, oh, there's maintenance involved.
Yeah.
And
it's not a stuffed animal.
Oh, I got to go get shots, or I got to do that. Great article written in the USA Today about 2 months ago about the cost of having a pet. And that is one of the biggest downfalls where people just fail because they don't realize, hey, I've got to spend a few $100s on this dog every other once in a while, or cat or whatever, and then they just can't do it and they just discard them. So
that's not how pet lovers
That's not
feel.
how it's supposed to be, you know?
The pets run the house, you know that.
Absolutely.
I always say in the grocery checkout line when I've got a few things for me, it's really all about the cats because I've got 2 big bags of treats, and Lord knows we can feed them, but if we don't have treats,
all the doggy daycares that have blown up. I love the fact that there's so many of them, and it's like, I need to socialize my baby.
We've got Patrick Lomantini from Barkaid, and Sheryl Green is with us from Hearts Alive Village. As I said before, we really have to all work together. Patrick, you're going to be here in Las Vegas.
Yes, November 5th at T Salon.
And that is a Saturday.
I'm excited.
All right.
Yeah, me too.
Yes. The tour has really changed. In the past, it developed from the 50 stays in 50 days. Then over the last 2 years, we've kind of expanded. And now we're having mini tours. This thing has developed to a point where it's like almost an all-year function. There's some groups that could not actually get involved during the tour schedule, like Fargo, North Dakota, Sacramento, California, San Francisco, Las Vegas. So we've changed it to where, hey, you know what, let's do a specific date, and I'll come out there and we'll do it that way, which is fantastic. It gives people more time. The key to this whole thing is the relationships, because there's so many different facets of it. You have a hair salon or a hair school, then you've got the rescue or the shelter. If there's a piece of that puzzle that doesn't work, it falls flat. If it's just relying on Patrick doing haircuts, we're only going to raise so much money. So we've transitioned out of just haircuts to an actual event. Have DJs, band there, whatever, vendors, food trucks, raffles and stuff. We've actually done less haircuts the last 2 years over the previous 3, but we've raised more money because we've made it an event. So I've had more quality time with the clients. I've spent more time, 30 minutes versus 15, shoulder massage, whatever. Give them the story, and it's amazing how much more it works.
Cheryl's getting a massage right now. Get your tip money out, girl.
It's those relationships. Another beautiful thing, too, is that I've worked a lot with the Paul Mitchell system, the schools, and recently they have endorsed Barkaid, and they invited us to their big event called Caper, where all of the schools across the country, educators, inspiration people, public speaking, come together for 3 days of inspiration, education, and awareness in Orlando, Florida. So having Paul Mitchell and that large of an organization endorse us and invite us to that event is huge for us. And also we are in the works of actually having a national Bark-Aid Day within the whole Paul Mitchell system, which means that all 120 schools across the country will cut hair on a specific day, and all that money goes toward the partners.
Oh, I love this. You know, this is going to be a lot more money for the rescue groups.
Absolutely. And one of my goals from the very beginning, but here's what's really interesting about Bark-Aid, unlike most third-party fundraising organizations, they take a percentage. 100% of what Bark-Aid's efforts do go to them. So we wanted to maintain that. And to the chagrin of all these people that have tried to help me over the years, they're like, Patrick, you're stupid. This isn't going to work. It's ridiculous. You can't make any money like this. I have steadfast with that. So Bark-Aid's business model is to develop relationships with sponsors like Paul Mitchell, talking to T-Mobile right now, Universal Insurance, which is out of Phoenix, Arizona, and sponsorship money. So that's how Bark-Aid survives. But what we're wanting to do is get matching funds. So if I come into town and raise you $2,000, you're going to get another $2,000. And to sponsorships, that is a huge thing because they have a captive audience. It's not like buying a radio ad and say, hey, you know, Universal Insurance, we specialize in insuring hair salons and spas. But now they're going to get their name on my shirt. I'm going to talk about it specifically to you, to all the hair salons and all the schools across the country. Universal Insurance endorses us. So that's a lot more bang for their dollar. And then what do? The money that they sponsor us with is a donation. That's our vision. So we're going to continue steadfast with that.
This has gotten bigger since we started our conversation. Yes. Just hearing about all of the different in-the-works kind of projects that are just going to make Bark-Aid that much bigger.
Right.
Bark-Aid's coming to Las Vegas on Saturday, November 5th. Sheryl Green with Hearts Alive Village. What have you got planned for Bark-Aid Day? You were saying, Patrick, that it's going to be at
Salon Tees. I believe they're on Fort Apache. Tees Salon. Actually, what's interesting about that salon is they were the salon on my very first year of this tour when I was doing the whole 50 States in 50 Days thing. They were the first salon. The following year, we had some scheduling conflicts, and then I ended up with Kelly Cardenas, who I work a lot with. He's with the whole Paul Mitchell system. He's out on Fort Apache Road, too. There's a lot of stuff on Fort Apache.
I'm well familiar. The street is just to the west of us here.
Anyway, so I worked with them, and then it kind of bounced around a little bit. Nice to be back with Tees. They've got a great parking lot, got a fantastic salon, and Teresa, the owner, is really involved. And our national spokesperson is right here out of Vegas. His name is Brett Rigby, and he's going to be at the event November 5th, and he is a fantastic individual. You can see him on our website. He's going to be there as well. So it's neat to have a fresh face and kind of get my old ugly head out of it and let someone else speak for me. Because we want to make a video and a commercial for Bark-Aid that's unlike the Sarah McLachlan thing that makes you want to just like choke yourself. So
yeah, the sad one. Everybody's familiar with the sad one. It's like, oh no, they're going to make me cry. No, we can be positive.
Right,
positive.
we can be positive.
PAWS.
Yeah, we right. We all
I know all the animal jokes.
So many puns. You have to have puns in animal rescue.
That's what we do.
We all know that there's the sad stories out there, but you know, people want to feel like the money they donated went to save a puppy. So we just like to leave it light and happy and support what they do. Quite frankly, I can't do what they do, but I can do what I do to raise awareness, and it helps. So
we're part of the overall effort. And what I always say with this show, with Talking Solutions, is with Bark-Aid, with Hearts Alive Village, specifically here in the Las Vegas area. Patrick, before we close out today, I ask, what can we do to help you?
Continue the efforts in saving animals and educating. I think that's one of the biggest challenges we have is just education in itself. That's what Bark-Aid's mission is. So, I mean, just continue spreading the word about Bark-Aid, what we're trying to do, make a difference in your own community, and never give up.
I love your attitude.
Yes.
Saturday, November 5th is the event at Tees Salon on Fort Apache.
Yes.
We'll have all the information on the Talking Solutions Facebook page. I imagine you blow up all over social media these days.
Yeah. They're like, I can't friend you because I guess you have a limit.
5,000.
You can only have 5,000 friends on Facebook.
Yeah, I've had friends have to cut back.
Yeah. And you ever go through your friends list and you're like, I don't know, who is this person?
But I never actually meet you.
But there's a way to do a different type of Facebook page.
Right, if you have a public figure page.
Yeah, more of an event.
I have a public figure page. I have the personal page. I've got the Bark-Aid page, the salon page, Twitter, Instagram.
I know your pain.
Oh my God. Sometimes you just got to put your phone down. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
A friend of mine back home, Brian Mueller, is a chiropractor, and he said that over the last 5 years, neck injuries have risen because of this.
Yeah. Oh no, there's a show on PBS right now that talks about your neck and your back being strong. And they say that just the way that you sit and you tip your head to look at your tablet or your smartphone, you're putting yourself out of alignment, and it really messes you up.
Isn't that crazy? It's just crazy. Yeah, the things we're addicted to. And then when we don't have cell service, oh my God, the world is falling apart.
Yeah. What did we do before we had smartphones?
How did our parents even meet? They didn't have Facebook.
I know.
How did they research each other beforehand is the important
Yeah.
part.
They couldn't Google it.
No, you had to actually look at each other and decide if you loved each other and take it
Right,
from
they
there.
actually had to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't stand it when I go to a restaurant and you see people looking at their phone.
Yeah.
Like, dude, your woman is right in front of you. Talk to her.
Yeah. People on a date, they're both looking at their phones.
I know,
It's like,
right?
really? You're texting? Patrick, it's great
I'm
having
actually
you
going to be
here.
here more often. I just applied for my Nevada license.
Oh.
I have 8 cosmetology licenses now, and actually going to be moving to Philadelphia in January, opening a salon with a partner up there. So got a lot of things going on. Yeah.
And as soon as you figure out that it's too cold back there
Oh, I absolutely.
and too expensive,
I'm not going to give up my Wichita. So
Like all good
I like living like a gypsy.
Wichitans.
That way I can come here during the winter.
like all good individuals from Wichita, myself included, you will say Las Vegas is the place to be.
I like it here. It's spending time with Eugene, and what I like about it is the time that I've been here, I stay outside in the suburbs where the real people are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
This is the real Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And once you get below the surface and you find out what an incredible town and the people that we have here, you're hooked.
It's absolutely amazing. You know, and just the development of the relationships I was mentioning to you earlier and all of the things. What's amazing about all of this is all of this has happened because we wanted to give back. We were trying to make a difference. And here we are together developing these relationships. And Eugene behind the camera over there with Spotlight Film Productions has been amazing. He's put some great videos together. And that relationship, again, started because of doing what we're doing.
Giving
and,
back.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
Karma.
And he sees the vision, you see the vision, and it's like, hey, let's jump on board with this thing.
Those are the special people. That's where I am blessed.
You don't find them on the
all
strip.
the time.
No,
Well, I'm sure they're down there.
they're
different-
just focused on
You know what
something
I-
else. at the
Yeah.
moment.
Last time Eugene and I were doing some filming on the strip, and it was, of course, how crazy it is. But it reminded me of Sweet Home Alabama. Oh, you brought your baby to the bar. all these
Oh,
babies and
you've got a
strollers on the
baby.
strip for. I don't understand that.
Yeah, stroller in a casino always stops me.
right.
I'm
It's
like, really?
What the? That's why I love spending time outside of the strip because it's real and I like it. And you know, and the cost of living here is reasonable. It's not that bad. It's really similar to Kansas, where I'm from.
No state personal income tax.
What?
Yes, you
Another
didn't
reason
even
to
know
live?
that.
I didn't know that. I like that. So
And we
Sold
don't
it.
have to clean our cars off from snow.
does it get cold during the winter?
Well, it does, but you don't need your ice scraper anymore.
I
It's
love
cold.
that
It's
idea.
not like East Coast cold like I'm used to. So.
Yeah.
It's different. You still will need your coat.
Yeah.
It is cold and windy, and we
good.
worry about the pets outside.
Yes.
You know, Kansas is that minus
Yeah.
0 stuff, and you're like, ooh, it's 50 degrees. Ooh.
Got it?
Yeah.
Patrick Lomantini from Barcade and Sheryl Green from Hearts Alive Village. Anything I forgot, guys?
Just come out and see us November 5th, 10 to 6. And even
At
if you don't need
Teeth
a haircut,
Salon.
come out and hang out and just get to know them.
On
And
40G.
we'll do an adoption event out there as well. So whether you just want to get your hair cut or you want to come and find new furry friends, it'll be there for you.
We were in Salt Lake City just recently, a few days ago. I've been going there for 6 years and finally found the right relationships working with a group called Rescue Rovers. And here's what's so amazing about what we're doing. They brought the dogs in for the adoption event, and I'm batting about 1,000. Every time there's a dog there, it usually gets adopted. They had a dog there, an older lab mix that had been chained outside for 10 years. They rescued him, got him all healthy. That bad boy, he got adopted that day. And that is just amazing. That they can go through hell and they just still want to love you.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Give them a chance.
Absolutely.
They
So,
change your life. They really are a big impact on our health, too, in a beneficial way.
Absolutely.
So we're all animal people. I think we agree. Patrick Lomantini from Barcade, Sheryl Green from Hearts Alive Village. Thanks, guys, for coming in
Thank
and
you.
visiting
Thank you.
on Talking Solutions.